Have you ever wondered what nightmares lurked behind the golden doors of the world's most powerful palace? Tonight, they will uncover the chilling truth about the Qing Dynasty's harem, a place where beauty masked unimaginable cruelty, and thousands of women lived as prisoners in gilded cages. For nearly 3 centuries, the Forbidden City's cold halls echoed with whispered secrets, deadly schemes, and the silent screams of forgotten souls. Today, they will explore the 5 most haunting realities of harem life that would make even the strongest stomach turn. These aren't just tales of palace intrigue. They're true stories of human suffering that imperial historians tried desperately to bury. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this journey into history's darkest corners. Let's get started. Number 1. The selection process. Human cattle market. Every 3 years, the Qing Dynasty unleashed a nightmare that would haunt families across the empire. The imperial selection process wasn't a gentle courtship. It was systematic human trafficking sanctioned by the throne. Picture this chilling scene. Thousands of young girls, some barely 13 years old, were torn from their mother's arms and herded like cattle into examination halls. Here's the unbelievable fact that will make your blood run cold. These children were stripped naked and examined by palace eunuchs who checked everything from their teeth to their fingernails, rating them like livestock at market. Girls who showed even the slightest physical imperfection were immediately discarded, often left to starve on the streets with nowhere to return. Those deemed acceptable faced an even crueler fate. They would never see their families again. The selected girls were branded with identification numbers and marched in chains to the Forbidden City, their terrified sobs echoing through Beijing's streets. Can you imagine the horror of being reduced to nothing more than imperial property? The scent of fear and desperation hung heavy in the air as these young souls realized they had become living ghosts, existing solely for one man's pleasure. But this was only the beginning of their nightmare. Number 2. The hierarchy of suffering. Once inside the Forbidden City's walls, these traumatized girls discovered a horrifying truth. Their suffering had only just begun. The Qing harem operated on a merciless ranking system with over 20 different levels, each determining whether a woman would eat rice or scraps, live in silk or rags, survive another winter, or freeze to death in neglect. At the bottom crawled the cixi, the lowest concubines who lived worse than servants. These forgotten souls slept on thin mats in unheated rooms, subsisting on cold porridge and vegetable scraps while performing back-breaking labor from dawn to dusk. Here's a chilling detail that reveals the system's cruelty. If a cixi gained even a pound of weight, it was seen as stealing food meant for higher ranks, punishable by brutal beatings. The hierarchy was designed as psychological torture. Women could see the luxury just out of reach, while knowing that one small mistake could send them tumbling down the ranks. The scent of jasmine incense from the upper quarters would drift down to mock those shivering in the cold lower pavilions. The sound of silk rustling above reminded them daily of what they'd lost or never had the chance to gain. But even the highest-ranking concubines lived in constant fear, because one woman ruled them all with an iron fist. The Empress Dowager's iron fist. Her name was Cixi, and for nearly 50 years, she transformed the Forbidden City into her personal house of horrors. This woman didn't just rule the harem, she orchestrated a reign of terror that would make medieval tyrants seem merciful. Starting as a low-ranking concubine herself, Cixi clawed her way to the top by eliminating every rival who dared breathe in her direction. Here's a bone-chilling fact that historians tried to bury. Cixi maintained detailed records of every woman in the palace, documenting their weaknesses, fears, and family connections like a hunter studying prey. When the beautiful consort Jen dared to gain the emperor's genuine affection, Cixi didn't just have her killed. She had the young woman thrown down a well during the Boxer Rebellion, claiming it was to preserve her honor. The screams echoing from that well haunted palace servants for years. But Cixi's most terrifying weapon wasn't poison or violence. It was psychological warfare. She would promote women just high enough to taste luxury, then strip it away for imagined slights, watching them break mentally. The metallic taste of fear became so common in the palace air that new concubines could smell it the moment they entered. Yet even Cixi couldn't control the deadly games the concubines played among themselves. Number 4. The Concubine Wars. While cixi ruled from above, a different kind of horror unfolded in the shadows between the concubines themselves. Desperation breeds monsters, and the harem's suffocating competition turned gentle young women into calculating killers who would stop at nothing to survive. The emperor's attention wasn't just desire, it was literally the difference between life and death in the palace's cruel ecosystem. The methods these women used would chill professional assassins to the bone. Powdered mercury mixed into face cream caused slow, agonizing death that mimicked natural illness. Needles dipped in snake venom were hidden in silk pillows, delivering fatal pricks during sleep. Here's an unbelievable fact that court records tried to hide. Some concubines became so skilled at poison that they could kill rivals and make it appear the victim died from heartbreak over losing imperial favor. But perhaps most terrifying was the practice of ghost accusations, falsely reporting rivals for treason or witchcraft. A single whispered lie could send an innocent woman to execution, her screams adding to the palace's growing chorus of the damned. The scent of burning incense couldn't mask the metallic smell of spilled blood, and servants learned to walk softly through halls where murder lurked behind every silk curtain. Yet even death wasn't the worst fate awaiting these desperate souls. Number 5. The Palace of Forgotten Women. There was a fate in the Forbidden City worse than poison, worse than execution, worse even than Cixi's cruelest tortures, being forgotten while still breathing. Deep within the palace's northern quarters stood the Cold Palace, where concubines who had fallen from grace were sent to disappear from history itself. These weren't deaths. They were erasures of human existence that could stretch for decades. Here's the most heartbreaking reality that will haunt your dreams. Some women spent 40 years or more in these frozen halls, watching their youth, beauty, and sanity slowly crumble like autumn leaves. They were given just enough food to survive, but never enough to truly live. Former beauties, who once danced for emperors, were reduced to talking to shadows on walls, their voices echoing through empty chambers as their minds shattered piece by piece. The sound of their footsteps became the palace's most chilling symphony, the hollow tap-tap-tap of women pacing the same stone floors for thousands of endless days. Winter winds would howl through broken windows, while these living ghosts clutched thin blankets, their breath visible in the frigid air as they whispered the names of families they'd never see again. Some scratched poetry into walls with their fingernails, creating museums of madness that palace workers discovered decades later. These forgotten souls remind us that sometimes survival itself becomes the cruelest punishment of all. Tonight they've journeyed through the darkest chambers of imperial power, from the cattle market selections that stole childhoods to the cold palaces where souls were left to rot alive. These weren't just stories of ancient cruelty. They reveal how absolute power transforms humans into monsters and victims alike. Behind every golden throne and silk curtain lay thousands of broken dreams and silenced screams that history tried desperately to forget. The women of the Qing Harem teach us that beauty and luxury can mask the most horrific suffering, and that sometimes the price of survival is losing everything that makes us human. Their whispered secrets still echo through the Forbidden City's halls, reminding us that power without compassion creates nothing but ghosts. What shocked you most about these revelations? Which story will haunt your dreams tonight? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more dark journeys through history's hidden horrors. Hit that notification bell. You won't want to miss what shadows we'll uncover next time.